I'm about to transform this empty space into faxuty's dream streaming and gaming room.
Based on what I knew about his previous streaming setup, which was falling apart when I got there, by the way, and the pictures that I took of the new space, I built a rough 3D mock-up of what the room should look like when it's finished. After a couple hours of planning and a $6,000 buy list later, I was ready to bring this setup to life. I forgot to mention, there's 7 things that I need to do to complete this setup on time. But first things first, we need to gather all the materials. Which I was kind of insecure filming inside of a Home Depot, but anyways. Then it was time to go to IKEA for the main furniture pieces of the room. I'm not gonna lie, I underestimated how heavy these products would be because damn, they were heavy.
Damn, that's a lot of packages.
Once I had everything back home, I could finally get started on the foundation of the setup. Tabletop for the desk. I went with a Hampton-based 6-foot birchwood countertop. The only problem is that it comes unfinished, which means that I'm gonna have to do that work myself. I started by using a 180 grit sandpaper for the first 2 passes, then on a 220 grit. Now that I made the wood smooth, I put 2 coats of clear wood finish to top it off. It essentially just keeps that wet wood look that we're looking for, and protects the desk if he spills or dings it. With the desktop finish, the next step was building the Alex drawers. And if you've ever built IKEA furniture, you already know it's a pain. I built both Alex drawers, and once those were finished, I brought everything over to Faxuty's house to start shaping the setup. But right away, I ran into a problem. PC wouldn't fit on the desk, and I realized this in the mock-up but didn't take note of it. So back to the drawing board, and that's when I had the crazy idea, what if we built the PC into the Alex drawer itself? The only scary part about this is if I mess up, I just destroyed a $100 drawer. So I got to researching. I saw this video by Arky on how to build the ultimate IKEA drawer for your PC. Upon watching the video, I saw that he made a full ventilation system inside the drawer. This was perfect, so I decided to try it myself. I started by drilling 3 holes with a hole saw for the bottom fans. That way, the bottom fans of the case can have some airflow. We then cut a vent on the right side for intake and another in the back for exhaust. After that, we sanded, painted the inside, and mounted a black vent on the outside to finish it clean. For the back side of the drawer, I decided to pick up a smart vent cover with a speed control. That way we could push the hot air straight out the back. I unboxed it, drilled it onto the case, and bam, it looks like this. I also forgot to mention, we cut a hole saw in the back left for all the cables to go through to the PC. But there was still one issue, the airflow at the bottom. Just because we cut holes at the bottom doesn't mean the airflow is going to go through that, without the drawer being raised off the floor. And since Faxuty is 6 foot tall, and the desk had to be taller anyway, we built custom 1.5 inch risers for both the top and the bottom of the drawers. So not only did this solve airflow, but it also made the desk look like it's floating and be the right height for Faxuty. Before we could bring the new desk into the room, we needed to prep the setup wall with soundproofing and add some extra style. For this build, I went with the Geolite Prism wall panels from Wood Veneer Hub. Most people would just stick with the classic vertical wood slats like I've done before, but I wanted to try something different. These have a prism-like 3D design, and honestly, I don't think I've ever seen any gaming setup use them. So my dad and I got to work. We started on the right side of the wall, leaving space in the middle where the monitors will be mounted. After we hung up the right side, we went on to the left side, and pretty quickly we ran into a challenge. A light switch right by the door. To make it work, we cut 2 of the panels to fit perfectly around it. Then we continued mounting the rest of the wall. Next, we noticed that there was about a 1-foot gap between the top of the panels and the ceiling. Keep it completely seamless, we cut custom 1-foot pieces to fill the space. And then came the fun part. Instead of stopping at the ceiling, we decided to continue the paneling onto the ceiling. A few cuts later, we created a design where the prisms point up and out. We even mirrored the design in the center of the room, and even though it's subtle, it gave this room an amazing look. But the desk and the wall are only half the battle. Not only am I going to have to reveal the setup to Faxuty, but I'm also going to have to reveal it to 5,000 people live, which makes my job 5,000 times harder. I have no idea what I'm going to do with myself if they don't like it, so I got to make this room as good as I possibly can. I started by building the IKEA 8 square that was going to be the centerpiece below the window. Once that was finished, I brought it over to Faxuty's house and I got it in place. First thing that it needed was lighting, because no stream background is complete without it. So I grabbed the RGB IC rope lights, tested them out, and stuck them to the back of the 8 square for that perfect glow. On top, I added a Govee table lamp. And of course, I had to test out the music reactive mode.
Fire.
Now, to the right of the 8 square was an empty corner, which is pretty boring. So to fix that, I unboxed the Govee floor lamp too, and I know what you're thinking. Is this video sponsored by Govee? Unfortunately, it's not. Anyways, after a few screws later, some elbow grease, and a will to live, it was finally standing. The lamp was finally finished, and the colors flooded the entire room and instantly made the space feel alive. But a lamp alone is kinda bland. So I added this IKEA fake plant right next to it, and suddenly the corner looked perfect. Since everything needs power, I also set up a clean outlet extension so that way the lights could be plugged in without messy cables. Once I plugged everything in, I slid the 8 square back into place and I started filling it up. At Target, I found the perfect color bins, so I built them all individually and lined up the bottom row for extra storage. Then I turned to the window above the 8 square, and as a creator, you have a love-hate relationship with natural light. It can be good, but when your setup faces a window, it's terrible. So blackout curtains it is. We mounted a rod, added center support, and hung up these curtains I got from Target, and now the problem is solved. With the centerpiece of the background almost done, I moved on to the main wall, the part that the chat would actually see the most. In my render, I had a floating shelf with art underneath, so we brought that vision to life. My dad and I mounted the shelf together, and we made sure it was sturdy and level. After that, I hung up an IKEA pegboard beside the setup for storage and display. Now back to the lighting for the shelf. In past setups, I've used Govee glides under shelves to add a glow effect, so I ordered new ones for this build, except I quickly found out that the new version only lets you connect 4, and I needed 6. Here's another problem. And the worst part, Govee discontinued the old ones. Like, Govee, what are we doing? Luckily, after some quick thinking, I remembered that I had some extras laying around my house from when I built this setup. So I cut new Velcro, mounted them all underneath, and it turned out flawless. Then I added a fake plant on the far right of the shelf and next to the table lamp as well. And since it needs a strong internet connection, we found out that the room actually has Ethernet ran to it, so I ran a cable from one side of the room to the other and put a raceway to hide it. In the corner to the left of the 8 square, I wanted to find more ways he can gain sponsorships in the long term with the streaming career and this new room. After some thinking, I remembered back to when I was a streamer, and the first thing that came to mind was drink sponsors. So I added a mini fridge that would be visible every time you stood up on stream. Now, I'm not gonna lie, getting this fridge unboxed was a battle. But once it was out, I actually added another Govee RGB IC rope light behind it, and just like that, the fridge became part of the stream background, glowing and ready for future sponsors. Now that majority of the background is finished, we can move on to the setup, which is the hardest part of this entire room build. I started by mounting all 3 monitors, 1 vertical and 2 horizontal. Once the mounts were installed, we positioned the monitors exactly how we wanted them.
So we got the desk and the Alex drawers all hooked up again. Since we did that before, we had to tear it down to build this new Alex drawer for the custom PC slots and make sure that the airflow goes through the PC. And we were waiting on a few things from Amazon, which we got today. So let's go ahead and unbox them, shall we? This one is the brand new monitor for the right side, which is kind of overkill for a secondary monitor. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of went overboard, but I wanted to have 2 OLEDs. So let's go ahead and, oh my God. Imagine I just cracked the monitor. Oh, dang. So like I said earlier, it is a little bit of an overkill monitor, but let's go ahead and get it unboxed, shall we? This thing is thin. So this is it right here. Now we gotta screw it in.
But to make it clean, all the power and cables had to disappear. So I grabbed a TV wire kit from Home Depot that had power built in, and I cut into the wall. Then we ran everything straight through. After feeding all the wire through, I remounted the monitors and the results were insane. Next up was audio. For the mic arm, I mounted a Fifine Low Pro mic arm, and it's compact and perfectly tucks underneath the monitor. Now, Faxuty was using a HyperX Quadcast before, and honestly, it's not really that great of a mic. Now, instead of buying a new one, luckily he actually had Logitech send him out this $400 mic laying around that we could upgrade his setup with. This is the Logitech Blue Sona, and I've honestly never used this mic before, but I've heard a lot of great things. Once I mounted it, the mic not only sounded amazing, but instantly elevated the look of the setup.
And to power all the audio in the setup, we're going with the Rodecaster Duo, and I think it will make a great addition to a setup. Woo! This is it right here. So you're probably wondering where we're gonna put the Rodecaster Duo because there's not a lot of desk space. So I actually calculated for this sort of thing because we didn't know how much space we're gonna have. I made it exactly perfect. Check this out. So the monitor right here sits exactly, almost too tight, but it's perfect. Look at that. Boom. So as you can see, it literally perfectly sits, which will center in the monitor, and you can look right behind it. Look at that. It will hide all the cables. We'll put all the cables up the monitor and down throughout a raceway right there, hidden behind the monitor. And this will be absolutely perfect. Like, look at that.
Then came the cable management. the part that everyone loves to hate. I mounted 2 Vivo metal raceways underneath the desk, stuffed all the cables inside, and I mounted the power strip on the backside of the Alex drawer. That way we could hide all the power cables cleanly and you wouldn't even see them. And of course, it wouldn't be a good setup without lighting. I added 2 Govee RGB IC strips under and around the desk for that nice glow. After organizing more cables, I noticed that there's a gap between the raceway and the Alex drawer. So I bought another raceway.
Mark all my cuts, and I'm about to go head over to my parents' house, go cut all of these.
And mounted it in that empty spot. Now that majority of the cable management's done, it's time to move on to the peripherals of the setup.
If you guys have been watching me for a long time, you know that I actually run a desk mat company. And yeah, we're gonna surprise Faxuty with a brand new mouse pad. Let me show you guys what it comes with. So of course, you get the mouse pad, and then guess what? You get a surprise inside. Let me show you. Boom. You get an airhead for a snack, boom. You also get a business card, which really doesn't have any value to you, but if you want to check out my business, you can check it out. You also get a Gutsy Aiden sticker, which we have a couple different versions. They get thrown in the boxes. Now for the thing that actually matters, the mouse pad. This right here is our IC Science Swirl mouse pad right here, and it's gonna fit Faxuty's setup perfectly. This is the foundation of any setup, a great mouse pad. Bang! Every mousepad order does support me and my dad who run the business as a father-son run business. And it does help me do videos like this. So if you guys want to support the brand, check it out. Anyways, moving on to keyboard and mouse. Here, actually, Pulsar sent me a couple things for his setup. So I got a Pulsar keyboard right here, which should be perfect for whatever he needs because he's not a keyboard and mouse player, so this should be perfect. Also, they sent me an esports level mouse right here, the X2HES. It's actually a pretty good mouse. I've tested it before, and yeah. So let's go ahead and put him in the setup. Boom! Here's some box action. So this is the mouse pad glide as well. Look at that. Dang, good glide as well. So yeah, we'll just throw this mouse here. Boom, it's got a brand new mouse. So let's go ahead and unbox the keyboard next, shall we? This is their new keyboard right here. They sent it to me before. It's the PCMK2HE-KL. Try saying that 3 times fast. Let's go ahead and unbox it, shall we? Shing, shing. And the box is just so beautiful. Look at this, man. Wow, their boxing experience is awesome. Man, I almost want to keep this for myself. Oh, that was really nice. We won't be needing the cable, so I'll just keep it in the box for now. Now, the quality of the keyboard is really, really nice. As you guys can see, look at this. There actually is 2 sides of flippy feet that have some rubber right here at the bottom, which is really nice. So you can adjust it however you want. And I actually will be swapping out the keycaps, even though these are really nice. I want to make sure that it's the same colorway, which I got a keycap set for that. So show you guys, this is the lineup he's got going right here. Boom, boom. And yeah, we're gonna go ahead and plug it all in. Plug this, boom, like this, and drop this behind there as well.
I added 2 magnetic cable clips. Then I swapped out all the keycaps for the keyboard, which looked like this when it was done. And now the problem is solved. Now that majority of the stream background was done, I decided to plug the camera in to test how the background would look.
This is kind of what the stream angle is gonna look like, but I have to adjust it obviously, but this is kind of the angle that we're looking. Let me go ahead and put the other lens on. Boom, 17 to 70? What? This is the stream background right here, I think.
Under the shelf was kind of blank, so I decided to actually grab Faxuty's neon sign that he's had in every single stream for the past couple years.
Man, let me see the mustache. I look like a fucking pedo.
Next to that, I actually added 2 disc plates, one for Polo G and one for Prison Break, which is probably one of the best shows of all time. Speaking of disc plates, I also added 3 above the closet, and I made sure to pick the most important things to Faxuty in these designs. The Warriors, because it's his favorite basketball team, Modern Warfare 2, because that was a game he grew up playing as a kid, and a Polo G poster of his album Die a Legend, which is Faxuty's favorite album of all time. Now that the setup is completely done, it's time to reveal the setup to Faxuty himself.
Here we go, baby.
Yo, check this out, dog.
Yeah, my boy got me right.
40 Glock, fuck on your bitch, make that hoe on a milli run. I'm with my boys and no, we do not milli run. Funny money, no, this is not no silly guap. Got a richer milli, this not a...
Faxuty loved the setup, but the question is, does 5,000 people love it? And I am about to find out.
Okay, so basically Faxuty's gonna be here in less than 10 minutes, and we have just finished his Go XLR, or basically the Rodecaster Duo. It's all set up. He has his games, his Discord, his desktop audio, etc. It should be all set up, and the camera looks pretty perfect. There's actually some people in chat just like saying what's up, so man, I'm nervous. We got the F sign put up, we got Polo G, Prison Break, XZ sign, and all the rest of the stuff. We also got the Starlight projector as well. Go on the back just to give that little ambient light right there. And here's the rest of the setup. We got his OBS set up with Camlink Pro, everything else. Here's his IEMs, which he likes better than headsets. Got his glasses, and then he is missing his chair still, which he's going to be bringing soon.
The nerves really started kicking in at this point. When I was a streamer, the highest view count I've ever had is 2,000 people. And even then, I was feeling a little nervous, but this was a whole new level of nerves. I kept recording to my phone thinking that would help, but I just kept yapping. Then I got the cue from faxuty to walk in.
Okay, so we're about to go live on faxuty stream right now.
How we looking? How we feeling, baby?
How to see what the chat thinks.
Aiden, you want to come through? Bro, this is the guy that has spent every fucking hour segment fucking every time I'm like, yo, W's in the fucking chat for my boy, bro. Yes, sir. Okay, bro. Come on, boy. Dude.
You like it?
Chat. Honestly, how was the room, chat?
I was fucking it. Dude, I've been building all this.
Well, it's safe to say that the chat absolutely loved it. And I finally conquered my fear of streaming to a large audience. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure to check out this one next and subscribe because we're almost at 200K. See you in the next one.